Hey everybody, I'm Marbozir and welcome back to Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong. So, I think I'm going to talk with Gaichu first, but we need to get some rest before we talk with anyone. So, let's do that real quick, and then we can talk with Gaichu. For the first time since you got to Hong Kong, you wake up feeling well rested and satisfied. Flexing your limbs feels glorious, it's as though you've spent hours cramped up in a confined space, and you can finally stretch your legs. Alright, well, that's nice, I guess. You push yourself up and touch your feet to the ground, but something stops you short. Your mouth. Something is wrong with your mouth. Okay. Investigate. Run your tongue over your teeth. You let your tongue move over your teeth until you reach the problem area, a molar on the upper left side. It feels strange. You apply a little pressure to the tooth, and it slides free from its moorings. It's as if nothing was ever holding it in place to begin with. As the tooth comes free in your hand, an image etches itself into your mind. A great chamber, hazy in form and outline, clouds of red mist that fill the air, perfuming it with salt and copper, great columns stretching up from the ground to pierce the sky, and above all, the enormous grinding gears of a broken machine. In the distance, you can hear a sound, a desperate, frantic pounding, something enormous at the door, many somethings, all desperate to get in, scrabbling and scratching and scraping, but unable to find purchase. The way is locked. You feel a tremendous sense of accomplishment. You've done it. The others are trapped outside, blind and starving, unable to pass through the door. The chamber and what lies beyond are yours. A shrill, giggling noise fills the air, like a laughter of small child mixed with the shivering screech of countless violins. The sound reverberates down your spine like an electric current. The intoxicating aroma of meat fills your nostrils. You have been starving for 1,000 years. Soon, it will be time to feed. And just like that, it's over. The images fade, dissipating like vapor. Only the tooth in your hand remains. Okay, I'm not sure what that was all about. So let's go talk with Gaichu. I'm curious about what he has to say now. And there he is. The dim cabin's air is thick with pungency of incense, as a small, rudely constructed altar sits near Gaichu's box of mementos. It consists of a wooden box, a few trinkets, and a bowl for burning incense. Gaichu himself is polishing his sword again. He runs a claw along the length of the blade, feeling and listening for nicks and dents. Good evening, Hulk. A fine evening, isn't it? What can I do for you? I sort of assumed you'd want to talk about what happened with your team. You don't have anything to say about what happened to Ishida. Well, let's go with first one. Of course I have thoughts about it, but why would I burden you or anyone else with them? If you would like to talk about it, then we may, by all means. I am a private person by nature, however. This is why I did not seek you out to speak on it. Okay? Well, let's have a chat then. Are you okay? A curious question. Am I alright? I, the one who survived, who has now sheds all life entirely. Who no longer needs to worry about assassins on his heels. Yes, I am more than alright. I am free. The team is all dead, save for Ishida. He will know what it's like to feel the disease burn through his brain, stripping logic and artistry and leaving only hunger in its wake. When it is done, I am certain he will be an animal, while I remain whatever it is that I am. Gaichu, but one that may speak and act as a free being. There is some poetic justice in this, I feel. His claims of my weakness mirrored by his own descent into feral madness. And yet here I am, one with enough willpower to survive and prosper despite my ill fortune. You don't think it was a step too far? You did the right thing, he had it coming, it was your choice. Huh. Well, he had it coming. Thank you for understanding. It was not an easy decision to make, but I feel I had no choice. Understand, Ishida was a product of the same training that shaped me. But unlike me, he has never had the training proven wrong. He always believed that he was the strongest, the best, and that he was unbeatable by lesser creatures. He would have never learned. His xenophobia and arrogance would have ruled him his entire life. Men like Ishida are the reason that Japan refuses to accept the awakening was a natural affair, and ships metahumans to Yomi Island. I was taught that people like Duncan, Gobet, and Isabel are subhuman, yet I have seen what they can accomplish, and I am impressed. Okay? What did you think of that last mission? Has killing your old unit changed your outlook on life? Yes, I think it has. My lesson to Ishida should not end with him. If becoming a ghoul has allowed me to prosper and become stronger, surely I should hone my instincts, just as my training honed my swordsmanship. If I can apply the same focus to my new nature as I did to my skills in combat, I am certain I can prove that to be a ghoul is only to be different, not lesser. I knew this before, logically, but I did not feel it. To know and feel are different things entirely. Regardless, Ishida's sword is now mine. It is a newer blade than my own, and appears to be made with some manner of enhanced decode process along with tungsten carbide. I have noticed a marked improvement in my speed when using it, particularly with follow-through moves. Should an enemy fall to this sword, I will be able to reposition much more rapidly. Okay? What did you think of the last mission? That is what we are already talking about, is it not? Is there anything else I can do for you? Do you regret having to kill your old unit? No, I do not believe I do. We were locked in a dance that could only end with my death or theirs. We chose that path, consciously unload. Am I unwilling to die so that... And I am unwilling to die so that they could live. I value my life, even changed as it is. Their insistence on following the strictures of their duty ensured this end, just as surely as my refusal to die did. I regret only that circumstance and training led us to this point. They were still family to me, even at the end. But if your family turned on you and tried to kill you, you would still defend yourself. What will you do now? Surely you are joking with me. I will stay here and aid you in your endeavors. I have no other life to turn to, nor anyone else to call friend. As you have aided me, so too I will aid you. This life in the shadows is the most free and open I have ever felt. I have no desire to go or do anything else. Perhaps later I will, but not anytime soon. Alright, have a good night then. Now we can talk with Racter. And we unlocked an achievement. Alright, Racter next. Racter's shop is alive with motion, wall-mounted tools, hammer and spark, each according to its own rhythm. The cacophony reverberates in the metal confines of the converted engine room, attacking your ears as the light of acetylene torches stabs your eyes. My friend, you've come back. Racter turns towards you. His boots are off, and you can see the metallic gleam of his feet. Freed from the confines of his boots, the appendages have unfolded. Clawed, gripping toes splay out in all directions, at least 8 to a foot. They look alien and predatory, like talons of some great carnivorous bird. I wasn't convinced that you'd want to continue our little chats after the last time. I'm glad that I was wrong. Are you kidding? I wouldn't miss our talks for the world. I debated it. In the end, curiosity won. The vote's still out on how wrong you were, but it didn't feel right to leave it where we did. Well, I wouldn't miss out our talks. I'm pleased to hear you say so. I rather enjoy them myself. So, what shall we talk about? Racter, what's up with your feet? I see that the shop is up and running again. What are you working on now? More options for Koshei, as always. He is still far from perfect, but every iteration inches him closer. I have questions about something that you mentioned last time, sure? Yes, I imagine you do. Go on then, ask away. So, in your ideal future, people without empathy, morality, or humanity will replace the rest of us. That sounds about right. Yes, people like me. Tell me, my friend, how does that make you feel? What is your gut reaction to the vision that I have shared with you? It terrifies me. It doesn't make me feel much of anything. It's a pipe dream, Racter. It's never gonna happen. I'm comfortable with it. Well, let's say it's a pipe dream, and it's never gonna happen. He frowns knowingly. Of course it will, but you do not know, of course. You don't share our selective advantage. I suppose it stands to reason that you would put your head in the sand. It's a natural reaction, albeit a useless one. I promise you, my friend, if you move past your atavistic reaction, you will see how right this is. The Sixth World is no place for compassion. It is a predatory world, a world of monsters. Some of those came with the awakening, and others are of our own design. But they are there, and if we are to survive, we need to share those weaknesses that prevent us from competing with them. I speak with the clarity of a man who is not a man in his mind or in body. The things that others refuse to see are as plain to me as the light of the day. I tell you, my friend, life is better this way. One day, you will see for yourself, and you will thank me for what I have shared with you. If what you believe is true, if people with your condition will inherit the earth, how long do you think that can last? Indefinitely. What makes you ask? Psychopaths are born predators. Ever heard of a natural ecosystem that's made up of nothing but predators? You're suggesting that we'll burn ourselves out, annihilate ourselves. I will concede that this is possible, but I think it is unlikely. And this is the Sixth World, after all. Even if meta-humanity is supplanted by post-humanity, there will be other forces at work in the world. We will not be alone. You're talking about the supernatural, dragons, spirits, that kind of thing. Yes, any form of intelligence that cannot or will not make the leap that we will make. Dragons and spirits would qualify, so would any meta-human holdovers that cling to their natural bodies. Artificial intelligences could also prove problematic. And what would they be to you? Competition? Prey? That remains to be seen, but they would give my people something to rally against. I, for one, am looking forward to seeing how it all plays out, aren't you? You said that you were diagnosed as a psychopath when you were 8. What led to that diagnosis? My mother had me tested. She'd always kept a watchful eye on me, obsessively so, truth be told. It was a rather poor way to experience childhood. Why was she watching you? Very little. She blew my childhood behaviors out of proportion, I'm afraid. The woman had always been motivated by fear. She had her reasons, I suppose. What reasons are you talking about? Malignant narcissism runs in my family. None of the men of my line have understood the concepts of conscience or empathy, and they wouldn't have had much use of them if they had. My grandfather was an abusive drunk who killed his own brother with a gasoline-powered ice auger. My father was a terror to his employees and assistants, a shark in a business suit. I suppose that my mother expected me to follow in their footsteps. And haven't you? Yes, I suppose that I have, but it wasn't by choice. Had I been left in peace, had my supposed friends not stolen what was dearest to me, I might have never taken to the shadows. My path was set by others, not by myself. I dubbed it. You're an admitted psychopath. The cruelty in you would have had to find an outlet sooner or later. Perhaps, but there is no sense in debating such things. Things happened as they did, and we are both the better for it, are we not? Surely it is advantageous having me on the team. Yes, Racter, it is good that you're here. Well then, there you have it. So, after you were diagnosed, what happened? He shrugs. I learned what was expected of me. The doctor was very helpful in that regard. He offered false hope and placebos, and false promises that he could cure me if my family met his price. And to me, he offered an escape. All I had to do was play along, and my problems would be solved. It wasn't difficult to pretend that I had been cured. Once I understood the outward signs that my mother was looking for, I was able to ape them well enough. In time, my mother came around. So you lied then. You pretended to be cured when you weren't. I put on a mask, both for my own benefit and the benefit of my family. I knew what would happen if I didn't. I had been caught, and my mother's scrutiny would only increase if I didn't convince her that I was better. My grandfather lived out his final days in Black Dolphin prison. You know the place. Now, is it anything like Supermax prison in the UCAS? In terms of conditions, it's far worse. Black Dolphin is one of the most appalling detainment facilities in Russia, and that is saying quite a lot. I was determined not to wind up trapped in such a place. I am not an animal to be caged. Racter bends down and runs his fingers over Koshei's chases. The drone stands motionless, the lenses of its many optical sensors focused on you. In any case, there you have it. I am glossing over many of the details, of course, but I'd rather not discuss my childhood any further. Instead, let us think to the future and to the promise that it holds. So, where do we go from here? Forward, my friend. Always forward. Silently, Koshei studies you, his articulated pedipalps weaving hypnotically. You will join me, won't you? The future beckons the both of us equally. Follow me, and I will guide you into a better tomorrow. I can think of nothing that would please me more. If and when your future comes to pass, I'll be there with you to see it. We'll agree to disagree about your perfect future. For the present, though, you have my support. Very good, my friend. If nothing else, I will have ample time to convince you. But in the immediate future, there is the small matter of the walled city to contend with. I will, of course, continue to help you the best I can. I need allies as badly as you do, and it is in my best interest to keep them alive. Good, let's keep it that way. You have nothing to fear, my friend. I am your friend, you can trust me. And now, if you will excuse me. I know, you've got work to do. You see, you know me so well. It's as if we share a single mind. Goodbye. Well, that was an interesting conversation as always. Let's go have a chat with Duncan then. What's up, Duncan? You walk into a mess. Half-eaten cans of food litter the floor, and personal equipment is strewn about in haphazard fashion. Amid the mess, Wu sits in his bunk with his back against the wall. He has a PDA in his hands, and he's staring down at it, sullen and morose. He doesn't acknowledge your entry. Okay? Want me to come back later? Doesn't matter. Go, stay, whatever. I assume that you're here to talk. Come on, what do you think about that last run? I don't even know what to say about that, Liang. You remember when we were kids, how we'd argue over who'd win in a fight? The Halloweeners versus Tamanos, the ghosts of Teen Tangre versus Ares Firewatch. In our minds, the Nakured samurai always came out on top. And now we've taken out a squad of them. We're moving up in the world. Yeah, I guess so. Funny. I don't feel any different than I did before. Just kinda empty. Anyway, I guess it's good that we helped Gaichu out. I still don't feel comfortable having the corpse eater around, but maybe he'll feel a little more indebted to us than he did before. I don't know. It's a lot to process. I don't know what else to say. Anyway, enough about that. Need anything else? What are you looking at on the PDA? A video of Edward Sang. Can I see it? Sure, why not? The footage shows a serious Chinese man in an expensive suit sitting behind a large solid wood desk covered in blueprints. The man is holding a magnifying glass over one of the plans and studying it intently. He folds the blueprint over and checks the one beneath it. The nameplate on the desk reads Edward Sang, Vice President of Special Projects. The video is rough and contains no sound. It may have been footage for a documentary that was never completed. The next shot is from some sort of planning meeting in glass enclosed conference room. The serious man is sitting at the conference table, pointing to a large map and looking up at the men standing around him. He is explaining something. They look up at each other and nod, clearly impressed by what he has to say. The whiteboard at the end of the room bears the words "Groundbreaking, 21st May, 2022", written in bold characters. Raymond's writing. The footage cuts to a scene of two people talking at the end of a long hallway. They don't appear to know that they've been recorded. It's the serious man, listening intently to what the older woman has to say, nodding with his arms crossed and thumb at his lips. The woman is the same one that was in the tapped video call that Kylie Cheng showed you. Josephine Sang. She's somewhere in her late middle age, beautiful and very clearly in charge. The two look up at the same time, see the camera, and begin waving their hands for it to be turned off. The woman appears angry but cold. The video ends and Wu puts the PDA face down on his bunk. Who is that guy? Edward Sang, Vice President of Special Projects for Sang Mechanical Services. I don't know anymore. Yeah, me either. Maybe when we find the plastic-faced man, we'll get some answers. Until then, Raymond Black is Raymond Black, and this guy is someone else. Been thinking about the way you and Raymond used to butt heads. What about it? I think that's one of the reasons you were angry with me when I left. I had a better relationship with him. You didn't have a better relationship with him. Raymond and I were tight. You just knew how to avoid conflict better than I did. That's not the same thing. You had that way of defusing him when he started with that intense array thing he used to do, remember? Intense array. I haven't thought of that in a long time. I think you were the one who came up with that name. It was like the summer after we started living with him and Mrs. Maloney. Raid found out that we haven't followed one of his rules. I don't remember which. There was a long list. You'd bought some nerves. He hated crap like that. I think you were still smoking. Yeah, I think that was it. I was smoking, and he was pissed and said that fat kids who smoke die faster. So just to be obstinate, I told him I liked to smoke, and we got into it. Then you came and defused the whole situation. I think that's why I was so resentful when you took off, especially after Mrs. Maloney died. You were the only one who could get through to him when he became intense array. I remember the last time. It was when Double Tray got taken. I don't want to talk about that right now, Liang. I've got enough on my mind as it is. Stuff like my father betraying my trust. Alright, well, that's it. Let's talk later. Okay then. So, I'm going to make a cut here and continue in the next part. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.